Live from virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, we welcome race fans one and all to Atlanta, Georgia for what should be an absolutely epic season opener for the second season of the iRacing Stock Car Association ButtKicker Cup Series in 2022. Hello one and all and welcome to the show. My name is Nolan Rempel. I've got Brian Britt beside me in the broadcast booth with Rob Melnick down behind the cameras for tonight's race. So we get set to go racing for 163 laps around the Atlanta Motor Speedway, 1.6 miles, getting set to get us all sorted here tonight, Brian. Should be a very thrilling ride ahead of us tonight.
Oh yeah, 100%. Going to be a very exciting race here. Definitely might be one of the last times we see the old, iteration here of Atlanta. And I definitely am going to miss it, but I'm going to enjoy every moment we have here tonight to watch this because, like I said, it could be one of the times we don't really get to see this a whole lot, except for maybe if someone brings it back for a legacy race or something like that. But very interested to see these guys duke it out. I mean, Atlanta is such a unique mile and a half that it is truly a driver's track.
It is a driver's track. It is one of the most difficult 1.5 mile tracks there is, although this track really isn't 1.5. It is more closer to 1.67 miles in overall track length. So we get set to go racing for 163 laps. Of course, it will be about 250 miles tonight for the Monster 250. Two stages, as always, getting set for us over the course of the night. You've got those stage breaks at laps 30 and 65. Which will leave us just over 100, just under 100 laps to go. We get set to go race for stage number 3, with the fuel tanks being about 49 laps apiece. Pitting right about halfway, and stage number 3 is definitely, I think, going to be the name of the game when it comes to strategy calls tonight.
For sure. I think tires are definitely going to be a big factor here, too. I mean, this place just eats them right on for breakfast, and there's so many bumps and challenges these drivers are going to have to face. I mean, I think this track really... you really have to be, ready to flow with the punches, when it comes to adapting and improvising here. This track is like that. I mean, one corner could feel totally different the next time around, and you really just have to be on your toes every lap.
You're quite right. You got to be on your toes every single lap. And when you take a look at some of the names that are getting set to come race with us here tonight, Mark Patchett currently sits at the top of the qualifying boards, and Josh Schaffner, he's put together so many good performances. He is going to be looking to set to see if he can make another run at the ISCA ButtKicker Cup Series title. Obviously, you've got returning drivers like Oxford, Wachinski, Mullins, Drumhiller, all making returns. You've got Robert Pattengale back for more, along with Matthew McMeekin, and so many other names we'll get to in just a moment. But for now, as we get set to go racing for 163 laps and 250 miles, it is time for the national anthem from Atlanta.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine! And with that, it's time for your starting grid here tonight from the Monster 250 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Mark Patchett is going to be out there on pole position with Josh Schaffner beside him. on the front row. Corey Cook is in third place with Kenny Powell, started in fourth on row number 2. Row 3 will hold out Kozlowski to cap off the top 5. Wayne Grossi starts beside him in 6th. Matt DeCiani and Greg Wychinski are in 7th and 8th place. John Mullins and James Oxford are rounding out your top 10, Brian.
11th place going to belong to Randy Drumhiller. 12th, R.J. Root. 13th, Don Avery. 14th going to be Greg Bartlett. 15th, Matthew McMeekin. 16th, Kendall Levron. And rounding out our 17-car field here tonight, Robert Pattengale in 17th.
And, of course, don't forget, you can use the promo code ISCA20 at thebuttkicker.com for 20% off on all ButtKicker products. Once again, that is ISCA20 at thebuttkicker.com for 20% off of all ButtKicker products. Proud sponsor, once again, for the iRacing Stock Car Association ButtKicker Cup Series and Super Cup Series season. We got set to kick off a brand new season for us here tonight. Brian, I have to ask you this. Looking over at the field tonight, who do you think we could be seeing with a potential runaway for the points lead exiting tonight?
I don't know. I mean, Mark Pageant, that pole is going to be so very important here. Josh Schaffner also going to have a good chance on the outside pole with, that top line is really powerful. But it's just so difficult to pass. So if Mark Pageant has a good start, he could drive away, get that clean air. That clean air is going to be so beneficial here tonight.
Clean air could very well be the name of the game when it comes to how you'll be able to make moves over the course of the night. And, of course, it is worth noting that you do still have the Super Cup Series season taking place as well. We saw that racing exclusively at the Phoenix Raceway just 1 week ago. And now with that championship in full swing, the way the championship lines up for those, obviously you do have a win and you're in system for the playoffs. And with this being round number 5 in the Super Cup Series season, Mark Pageant currently leads the way with already 2 wins on the season. Schaffner and Johnson are also locked in. Greg Wychinski is the first of the drivers who was, shall we say, not so much good to go on the points, and it is some ways back to Clayton Hoffman. Derek Jacobs and Robert Pattengale, those are the 2 drivers kind of straddling at the playoff cutoff line, just 6 points separating them. But, of course, very early in the season to be seeing trends developing for the Super Cup Series season.
Yeah, and you mentioned Derek Jacobs not in the field here tonight, so definitely going to be missing out on some well-needed points. And, this not the race you want to miss here. Anything could happen here tonight. I mean, we could see some guys have some problems as they are pulling off. I do believe Mark Pageant, is he showing up on your screen, Nolan?
He did start a little bit further up, but he has not taken to the starting grid yet. So Pageant will not make it to the starting grid. Neither will R.J. Root. Both of those drivers going to be starting now 16th and 17th. They'll be having to make pit road starts throughout the course of the night. So that is very unfortunate for both those 2 drivers. They were looking set to see if they could potentially have a solid points night. That time just got a whole lot rougher for them now that they're going to be starting all the way from the back.
Yeah, this is definitely going to give a big advantage to Josh Schaffner, who's going to be able to really lead the field up there on the top row. And that top lane is very powerful here at this track. I mean, a lot of times you see a lot of guys don't really run on the bottom very much here. I mean, you go down there, you're going to get loose. So I think that's going to be one of the stories of the night, too, is guys going down there getting a little too loose, and especially cold tires, I think. Or, and you got to take care of them. In 5 laps, I think, you got to take care of those tires, and then it'll affect your run. So I think that's going to be a big thing too. Is just tire management is going to be huge here. Setup is going to be huge too. And wow, what a decision there. I don't know. Maybe he just had some some technical difficulties. We've been seeing a lot of that lately.
Coming out of turn number 4, Corey Cook leads us to the green flag, and we are underway here for the Monster 250 from virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. Schaffner looking for the high lane through turns 1 and 2, but Corey Cook pulling clear from the bottom.
And Corey Cook able to slide right up there in front of Josh Schaffner, and that's what you want to do. And this is one of those tracks you want to kind of try to run both lanes, try to keep those guys side by side, but they're single file out pretty good so far up in the front, but a lot of side by side battling going on further back in the pack. I think we see I believe that's John Mullins in that cereal machine. Definitely a very St. Patrick's Day oriented as they do start to single file out. He is going to take over 8th place, or 7th place, I should say. He is being challenged right now by James Oxford on the inside.
Being challenged by James Oxford, but so far doesn't look like he'll be potentially lose the position. John Mullins will be doing a good job to make sure that his Lucky Charms machine, and really not even Lucky Charms, but just a serial smorgasbord on board the number 64 car, going to be looking set to pull himself out with a solid run here tonight, and he will now lose the spot to James Oxford in his Winn-Dixie number 79 Ford Mustang. Oxford pulls clear, but it is a long way up to Matt DiCiani in 6th.
Yeah, definitely good starts are so important here. One person that never has to really worry about St. Patrick's Day, not going to get pinched, probably Greg Wachensky back there in that green car. He's under fire right now, I do believe, from Kendall Levron. And that is for the 11th position. A little further up front, Corey Cook now being pressed by Josh Schaffner and Kenny Powell. Al Kozlowski also following. So this is one of those tracks, even though it is more of a driver's track, you see a lot of guys really trying to work together. If you could just get lined up, you could definitely make some things happen.
And to the inside is going to be Al Kozlowski down the front straightaway. Made an effort for it out of turn number 4, but Corey Cook pulled clear from the high side. So Schaffner leads the way. Kenny Powell 2nd, Cook 3rd, Kozlowski 4th. Rossi trying to hang on back in 5th. Drivers slipping and sliding around through turn 2. Atlanta, of course, has a reputation on iRacing of being one of the most slippery tracks you can find on the oval racing scene, when it's over 1 mile on the iRacing surface. And that trend is certainly seeming to be ringing true still in these next-gen cars.
Yeah, and I think also probably causing a little bit of problem is the track temperature itself. I mean, it's about 99 degrees, almost 100 degrees out there on this surface, so that's probably not going to help out when it comes to the grip level out here. Grip level is already very low. Old track surface, a driver favorite. It's a favorite of mine to watch here, and curious to see what that new iteration is going to look like. But man, you just can't beat old classic Atlanta. As the 64 getting a huge run up on the top on John Mullins. Or John Mullins getting the run. James Oxford actually the one under fire right here. Don Avery trying to make something happen.
Trying to make something happen, but so far nothing necessarily being successful. Oxford will continue to work on John Mullins, and it seems like Oxford good on the short runs, but Mullins better potentially over the longer run, as Mullins has started to close back in. And all the while, you've also got Don Avery in the number 11 Toyota Camry looking to run the bottom lane as well, trying to follow Oxford, but he gets a bit loose out of turn number 4, forced to back out and kind of wrestle with the car to bring it back under control, but loses almost no time. He continues to work his way around the inside lane, trying to put Mullins down another spot.
That's one thing about this track. I mean, a lot of the mile and a halves, you do have to race the competition, but this is the type of track you got to race the track itself. I mean, you could be side by side with someone and just get loose all of a sudden. It comes out of nowhere with this racetrack. I mean, it's such a difficult track, and I think an impossible one to master. You just kind of, like I said, have to be able to adapt on the fly, and I think that's what we're seeing from a lot of these guys, just trying to adapt, trying to make it through this first stage, use this as their experimental phase to try to see what their car's doing, what's the limits of their car, to try to maybe make some adjustments. As you can see, such a big gap between 6th place and 7th place. There's definitely some adjustments to be made, I should say, but it also could be the gap that this is forming here is because these guys are racing each other hard. Al Kozlowski has made it back up to 3rd place right now. Wayne Grossi, I believe he was one of the fastest in practice. Wouldn't be surprised to see that 7 car come up here and tangle with some guys. Corey Cook falling back to 5th as he loses that position to Grossi.
Losing that position, and Grossi will now be trying to find his way up to the 3rd place run of Al Kozlowski. Kozlowski in turn trying to look up the inside of Kenny Powell. So you've got Kozlowski, Powell, and Schaffner all running those to tail. Rossi trying to find his hat in the ring as well. Matt DiCiani is also closing the gap. You see the number 1 Vanatech machine running just near the back of this one in his Chameleon Cold Brew Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, and continuing to apply some of the pressure up to Corey Cook. Wayne Grossi scrambles to avoid running over Al Kozlowski out of 2.
And almost getting ready to go 3 wide here is Wayne Grossi. They are going to go 3 wide. Corey Cook in the middle. Man, this is a Corey Cook sandwich right here, but it didn't last long, and that's one thing about Atlanta. 3 wide usually doesn't last very long.
It's not
Go ahead, sorry.
It's not a multi-groove racetrack like other tracks like Vegas and Kansas are, is it? It's one of those tracks where the bottom line does tend to be the fastest way around, and that is a trend that is certainly ringing true tonight.
I'd say so. I wouldn't even really say it's the bottom lane. I think it's more like the middle groove because, like I said, there's some bumps that are on the bottom of this racetrack that will greatly unsettle these cars. But, you know, a lot of times you want to kind of run almost like a car width up from the bottom. But Kenny Powell now challenging Josh Schaffner. He's running on the bottom. Let's see. Hopefully he doesn't have any issues. These next-gen cars, seem like they do deal with these bumps quite well.
His next-gen cars, obviously, with the higher downforce, are able to deal with the bumps quite nicely. Powell has to check up, or he would have put Schaffner into the wall. That lets Cook clear for second place. Grossi making a run at the podium as well. And now Wayne Grossi taking that car all the way up to the outside lane. Going to be holding on to third place. And Kenny Powell will have to settle for fourth for the time being. Already 14 laps in. Started to get towards that halfway point now in stage number 1. You got Corey Cook pushing way up the racetrack, but Schaffner will push up and clear. Corey Cook looking for the inside, and the 60-1 machine is going to go through to the race lead.
Great move there from Corey Cook. But if you look at this top 6 right now, they're all running like a half a second slower than 7th on back. So I think we're going to see this whole group kind of start to coalesce here. I think James Oxford is eventually going to end up catching up to the back of this top 6.
And it's not helping that they keep going side by side like this. Schaffner back to the bottom of Corey Cook. Corey Cook pushing off the outside wall into Schaffner clears. You see Wayne Grossi looking for that inside line. Kenny Powell is going to be going up to the top shelf to try to see if he can't find his way through in the number 24 Toyota Camry. Grossi, though, still holding the bottom. And Josh Schaffner, I think, will have to be a little bit more content to just sit back and let this one play itself out.
Yeah, one thing about this track, too, I mean, I think, you know, Corey Cook did a good job to try to get up in front as quick as he can. You want to try to keep those guys side by side, but you also want to have that clean air. I mean, that is going to help save those tires. Even though these cars do build, you know, create a lot of downforce, you still want to try to save those tires, and clean air definitely helps you do that. Don Avery taking over the 7th position.
Avery
John
up
Mullins
to
falling
7th.
back here.
You are correct. Mullins starting to drop back, about to fall behind the 00 of Kendall LeBron making his return. Matthew McBeacon also in the mix of this thinger. He's trying to look maybe 3 wide for the bottom. Gets into the back end there of Kendall LeBron, and they just gave him a small little kiss on the rear end, but nothing too much that he would have to worry about. You see Avery now starting to go defensive. All the while, Wayne Grossi still battling for podium positions up the road as well. Kenny Powell looking for third as they're going to go 3 wide in the back here out of turn number 4, but they're going to get themselves double filed out. And tell you what, LeBron is not willing to give any quarter with him in these battles, is he?
No, definitely not. Already these guys are out for blood. I mean, you can see Matthew McMeekin probably getting really frustrated. He's able to get these really great runs, but just not able to take them anywhere because Kendall is just not giving him the room to be able to make that move. Still, I mean, it is, I guess, I can understand a little bit why you wouldn't want to let someone go. But then again, I kind of don't, considering, you know, this is the first stage. There's still going to be plenty of chances to get that aggression out, you know, really race hard. But I don't know if that's right now, you know.
Well, you have to remember, stage points does really, really matter in races like these, especially the longer ones, and they can add up over the course of the season. Every stage point matters. That's why these drivers are battling as hard as they are right now. They're also fighting hard for second place as well now. Kenny Powell working his way back into the order. Schaffner's up to second. Grossi is looking for the high side as well, with DeCiani and Kozlowski both not content to just sit around. Starting to pick up as we're about to hit 10 to go in stage 1.
Yeah, you can see the amount of fall off these guys have already kind of incurred over a second. And that just shows you, I mean, over 20 laps, you see the tire wear is quite substantial here at this track. You know, if you had these cars going at another 1.5 miles, I don't think the tire wear would be near as bad. But you can just see the fall off that these guys are experiencing. And with that fall off comes handling issues. And I think that's what we're seeing it's just so hard to pass, especially once those tires start to get up too high.
And single file, well, maybe not. Powell back to the inside, a Schaffner, Corey Cook. Thought they might go 3 wide with him for a minute, but Cook's going to just pull the outside line to get some momentum going. Schaffner looking for the outside on Powell. Looks like he won't be able to take the outside line away. Powell stronger on the bottom one entry, but Schaffner getting the run as they approach corner exit, but it's not a run that is big enough to keep Kenny Powell down. And Powell's back up to second place.
Yeah, almost like some dirt track driving going on here. A little bit of, some sliding right up in front of, him and able to block Schaffner there. And good job on Kenny Powell. I mean, defensive driving, that's what you got to be able to do here. And looks like he's able to do it. We're almost going 3 wide back further in the pack. Man, they are racing hard everywhere in this field right now.
What else is new? Right back where we left off, right? Racing hard every single lap, just like we want to see from an exciting ISCA Cup race like this.
I mean, that's what the audience tunes in to see, and I think they are getting a nice, sizable helping of that right now. As you see Don Avery, James Oxford fighting side by side, going on for the 7th position. There's still some side by side battling going up towards the front of the field. You see Matt DiCiani making his way up to 4th place. He's been kind of running a little bit of a quieter race here, probably just making the smart decisions. I think that's what you got to do. Wonder if anybody's going to be laying any changes to their cars here. I mean, after this stage break, I mean, you notice any kind of thing that handling wise, you might want to make some tire adjustments. Not really, you can't really adjust the tape though. That's one thing these next gen cars don't really allow you to do.
You don't have the ability to adjust the tape, but you can, of course, adjust other things in this car. And you have to think that maybe some drivers in that second tray might look to make some use of the changes they can make. See if they can't find themselves running with the top group being instead. Looking at Kenny Powell, finding the inside of Corey Cook, but Cook, again, rips the outside line. Seems like Cook really is going to be a driver to beat tonight. He has been pulling the outside line perfectly and so far has made no faults in his defensive game.
No, that's what you got to do. That's the ultimate defensive line here at Atlanta. You run a little bit higher. They're just not able to get that momentum off the corner. Matt DiCiani moves up to 3rd place, but still under fire now. Josh Schaffner trying to make the pass on the inside. It's just you're not able to get the momentum up off the corner when you're down there on the bottom. But it looks like Schaffner is able to get it done. But now going to have a crossover attempt from Matt DiCiani. Maybe, no, he thinks better of it.
Be patient, right? That's what you got to do in a race like this. It is a long one, so you got to be patient. And DiCiani choosing his battles, deciding where he wants to go and try to make up time here, go for these extra positions. DiCiani now looks to move out to the outside line. He's moving to where the rest of the field is, and I like this. Stick where it clearly works. Wayne Grossi looked for the inside of DiCiani that time by, and unfortunately that only cost him time as opposed to gain him anything.
Yeah, you definitely want to try to run where everybody else is running, but then again, you might not, just considering how valuable that clean air is, considering, these corners. I think handling is so important at this track. I mean, if any bit of downforce you can get is going to help you tremendously. One person I think is really going to be lucky in this whole thing is going to be able to still stick with this race. Mark Padgett. He can't. He's about 10 seconds from going a lap down, but luckily the stage is getting ready to end. So I think we haven't seen the last of him. Considering there's still a lot of chances for some other guys that, like we said, make some adjustments, maybe get themselves where they want to be, and the track is going to continuously be changing also with the rubber getting laid down.
2 laps to go. Pit road just closed this lap by, and the battle is still on for the race lead. Kenny Powell looking for the inside line. Corey Cook trying to see what he can do. Can he hold on with 1.5 laps left to go from Atlanta?
Yeah, he's going to do everything he can to hold on here, but I mean, all Kenny Powell has to do is get side by side and be able to cross the finish line just in front of him. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to complete the pass all the way, as long as he's just able to cross a little bit in front of him, and even a second place finish for Kenny Powell is going to be a good start to his season. I mean, anybody that's up here in the top 5 going to be probably pretty content to get that top 5 finish. Definitely starting out the season on the right foot.
Back straight away for the final time today. Kenny Powell, does he have anything for Corey Cook? Looks like the answer to that question is going to be no. Corey Cook out of turn number 4. He will win the first stage here from the Monster 250 at Atlanta.
Excellent job there from Corey Cook. I think he ran a very smart stage there. You know, we saw him on the outside, you know, on the inside, I should say, kind of controlling that first initial start. You know, fell back, but was able to work his way back up into the lead. Man, I mean, he's definitely got a fast hot rod there in that Abruzzi 61.
So under caution for the first time tonight here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll take a quick step away. We'll be back in just a few moments.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Pit stops underway from Atlanta. Corey Cook, unsurprisingly, going to be first one off. And he was having himself a solid time out there, winning, of course, the first stage.
Matt DeCiani getting off pit road very well there, and he's able to win third over Josh Schaffner. It was kind of a close race there on pit road.
Close races everywhere you look on pit road, as is the norm when it comes to these stage cautions. So we will see if we can't dial up your stage 1 winner, Corey Cook, on the night. Corey, how's it going out there, buddy? You just won the first stage.
So far, so good. Let's see. Let's hope it stays that way.
You had a bit of a hard fight ahead of you there. You certainly didn't have an easy time taking that stage 1 victory. How competitive do you think you'll be compared to the other guys when it gets to the longer runs?
Hopefully I'll stay competitive. I'm honestly surprised I didn't see anybody else in that top line. That's been the fast lane in 1 and 2 for a while now at Atlanta.
Well, they seem to be kind of catching on to your tricks in the last few laps there, so you'll have to figure something out, I would hope, to make sure that you can get yourself stage 2 win and hopefully a race win as well. Before we let you go here, Corey, anybody you'd like to shout out for that number 61?
Guardian Esports for the paint job, Ryko Motorsports for the setup, and you guys are putting this show on.
And thank you, Corey, for taking the time to join us here tonight. Congrats on a stage 1 win. Best of luck in the next 30.
Thank you.
And yeah, pretty much is 30, considering, you know, next stage is going to be on lap 65. So, yeah, when we go green, I do believe we're going to have 31 laps, I do believe.
Be 31 laps to go when we take stage 2. 1 lap longer than the opening stage of the night was. Field of 16 has once again caught the field. Everybody still on the lead lap.
And that 1 lap could be all the difference. I mean, we saw Kenny Powell was really mounting the charge there on Corey Cook. Could we see, you know, that 1 lap be the difference?
Corey Cook going to be your control car. Can he fend the field off now that they have figured out what his strategy will be? Green flag back in the air for the Monster 250.
And I'm really curious to see how these guys handle these fresh tires. You go from Atlanta, when you starting to get used to how those old tires behave, and you get that switch over to the new tires, you can see some guys maybe make some issues, make some problems here. Those cold tires might not behave quite so well, and if we do get a caution in the middle of a stage where these guys have 15 or so laps on the tires, Nolan, I would not be surprised to see some tire spin, some wheel spin.
Powell already hunting for the inside on Corey Cook, and Corey Cook going to continue to hold on the outside line, but that inside, it can really work for you on the fresh rubber, which is what they got in the moment. Corey Cook's going to have to wait a few laps before he really starts to see some serious effects with the outside line, but for now, inside is where you want to be. Oh, Cook's loose, sliding sideways and manages to save it.
Man, he could have easily hit the inside wall there. That could have been terrible for his race, but he's not going to lose too much here. Definitely not in the top 3 anymore, but still in 5th, fighting with James Oxford. Oxford been moving his way through this field.
And Oxford continuing to work his way through this field. Looks like he's going to be looking to put Corey Cook down one more spot. Seems like Corey Cook's just not having a very good time on these restarts. He got a top 3 breakaway, and then it is everybody else. It's James Oxford trying to pick up 4th.
Yeah, I think it came down to the old tires. I mean, he was used to driving on that top lane when he had the old tires, and he didn't seem like he was having much problem. But now that those tires are not up to temperature, he probably got them up to temperature though with that kind of sliding them like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see if he has some residual heat in those tires. Maybe flat spotted them. But still, what a save! I mean, he could have easily went careening into the inside wall there. Greg Wachinski running up real quick up to the back of Corey Cook. Well, it looks like Oxford might be able to get this pass done. Close racing there, side by side for that 4th position still.
And that's not the only place of the racing is close. We've also got some fierce fighting just outside the top 10. You can see boundaries at the edges of the screens as well. You see the lines of Al Kozlowski in the thick of this battle with John Avery in there as well. And up for 5th and 4th, James Oxford and Corey Cook. Both going to be going double file once again through 3 and 4. Wachinski in the thick of things as well. And James Oxford can now hunt for the inside line. Corey Cook not going to be having a very easy time of things. He's going to be maybe looking to push up the track, but he's loose again. Cook really struggling on cold tires in the early going of the stage.
What I'm kind of thinking, I mean, I don't. It could be the cold tires too, but I think maybe he laid in an adjustment that maybe just was a little bit of the wrong way. Oxford getting real tight there. That's going to give a good run to Corey Cook here. Man, you could tell. I mean, you make an adjustment, you could tell the difference here. I want to say that's what happened here. You made an adjustment that maybe is just not agreeing with that car right now. Oh, into the wall Corey Cook goes, so he is just struggling right now. Someone's loose on the inside apron there. That's Al Kozlowski. He's falling back to 15th.
Kozlowski has been struggling ever since the restart, and this time he went all the way down to the apron and had to fall all the way back to last place now. As Robert Pattengale just got around Kozlowski. And Pattengale already 3 seconds off of Greg Bartlett, the next closest time. So you got Wachinski and Corey Cook. Is Cook starting to bobble just a tad as well up the road. Kendall LeBron into the mix as well. It's a rough going here for a good number of drivers in this field. And you have to imagine that Wachinski not going to be having a very easy time of things. So Wachinski's going to have to fight hard if he wants to hold on and maybe go after a top 5 finish here in the second stage, of which we're already getting to the point where it's already almost going to be 20 laps to go.
Yeah, not long until the end of this stage for sure. I think a lot of these guys just need to hold on. I mean, we got that long stage. Like I said, just try to make adjustments. Try to experiment a little bit with these stages. Use them to your advantage because the long run is soon to come. I mean, when we have that run to the end, that's going to be the longest these guys have ever been on these tires, and it could pay to just be able to survive here. I mean, this is one of those things. You see all these guys struggling. Could just pay just to try to stay, keep your head down. Wayne Grossi getting real loose. Wow, what a save there. everyone is on edge right now. I don't know
Oh, yeah.
what changed.
I think drivers are just struggling here on these fresher tires. We've got changing track conditions as well, right? I mean, it's up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That is hotter than it was at the start, so maybe a slicker and a hotter track started to impact the way these cars drive as well. That is one story that has been very, very prominent on the mile-and-a-half scene throughout the last couple of weeks, Brian, is that these cars are very line-dependent, and they are very, very weather-dependent as well. Even a 5-degree track temperature difference, that alone could completely overturn the way your car handles.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, you could be running officials all week long and have that setup dialed in, and you show up here tonight in the ISCA, and it could just be a little bit off. And that's all it takes. Greg Wachinski, though, taking over 5th place from Corey Cook.
Corey Cook is going to continue to slip back slightly. Kendall LeBron looking forward as well. He's trying to find his way up into the top 5. LeBron, of course, found himself finishing in 10th place in the first stage. Looking to see if he can maybe do a couple better. He's already up to 7th, and he can see Greg Wachinski in his sights. He's just got to be able to work up a few passes and be able to actually execute them.
100%. We got some racing going on back here further in the pack. We see Randy Drumhiller, Matthew McMeekin, Don Avery all battling back and forth. Mark Pageant right now in 9th place. He kind of had a bad, you know, got the pole tonight, had a little bit of a bad start. You know, I don't know what exactly happened there, maybe some technical difficulties, but he has worked his way up to 9th. I'm sure he's going to be looking forward to the end of this stage to try to get back into this thing. Just seeing how it's been, I mean, it's so hard to pass. I mean, when you try to pass, you're going to be slowing each other down. I think that's what the major story tonight's been.
Slowing each other down, that is, of course, a very, very big point that we haven't talked about a whole lot, but it's something that is definitely worth mentioning. These drivers are not doing themselves any favors with going side by side like this, but at the same time, it is a race. You got to go side by side at some point if you're going to race with each other, and that is exactly what a lot of these individual packs are starting to do. You've got the top 3, about 9/10 up from 4th through 8th, and then you got 9th to 13th. Those are really your 3 major kind of splits in the field for the time being. And this pack between 9th and 13th, 2.8 seconds back from Wayne Grassi, who caps off the second train. So I think they're starting to realize there's no point in really trying to play a nice and safe here throughout stage 2, right? They already know that they're not going to catch him. May as well fight with each other.
Tell you someone, Kenny Powell looking really strong right now. But Matt DeCiani starting to put a little bit of pressure on Josh Schaffner. Could we see him make something happen? He's running a little bit higher on the racetrack than Josh, trying to get some of that clean air. But this is what Kenny Powell probably wants to see. He wants to see Matt DeCiani and Josh Schaffner battling each other. He wants to be able to just pull away.
You can see that fight for second place really starting to heat up. Just 2 tenths separating these drivers. Oxford and Wachinski are even closer, with Wachinski trying to find the outside lane on Oxford for the 4th position. All the while, you've got fights picking up everywhere you look in the field. You've got Wachinski on Oxford, DeCiani on Schaffner. You've got Grassi on LeBron. McMeekin making an overtake on Mark Pageant this time by through 3 and 4, with guys like Randy Drumhiller wanting in on the action as well.
Oh yeah, guys trying to shoot their shot. They're trying to make something happen. I mean, you got to try to get as many stage points as you can, especially with this being the start of the Cup Series. I mean, you have to. I mean, this is going to line up the momentum, and the performance you put on here is going to lead to what happens in the rest of the season. I mean, are you going to dwell on mistakes made here, or are you going to come into it with some high momentum? And I think that's what Kenny Powell's looking to do right now, as he has about a half a second lead on Josh Schaffner. Man, Kenny's just looking quick here tonight. At 24, he's looking better than I've ever seen him before as they race side by side for second place. Matt DeCiani sending it up the inside.
Wachinski's also making a move on Oxford into turn number 3 as Schaffner's broken clear. Oxford, though, dropping back big time. Wachinski really pinched Oxford up into turn 3. Didn't let the 79 car turn in. That allowed Corey Cook to pounce as well. And that puts Cook back up into the top 5. So the recovery drive for Corey Cook begins, but here comes Oxford looking back for the inside through turn 2 on the bottom side. And James Oxford going to wash up the track. You got Kendall LeBron and Wayne Grossi as well, trying to fight through as well on top of it all. Oh, and contact, Corey Cook going around almost. No, he saves it. And there's going to be yet more contact between Grossi and LeBron. Corey Cook now will be putting a 3-1 with LeBron in the middle, Cook on top, and Grossi on the bottom in a 1.
Man, Grossi almost went through the grass there to try to stay out of this. He made the pass happen. I mean, man, that was scary. Just not been the day there for Corey Cook. I mean, he has such a great stage 1, just right now struggling. You know, a lot of these guys, you know, a little bit more cutthroat right now tonight, for sure. I mean, they know this is the start of the season. I gotta make my standout move.
What really remarks me about this one is because I know a league where I used to run, or well, I used to help run, right? And the one driver, first ever season, first ever race, won both stages, finished runner-up in the race. That strong launch helped him stay in the points lead all the way up until playoffs throughout a 20-race schedule, despite not having a single race win. You know how did he did it? He got it because he was good on the stages. Couldn't put together a long run, but he was amazing on the stages, and that opening run really helped him seal the deal. These opening couple of races are absolutely critical. If you don't make your mark in the early run, it's going to be that much harder for you later on.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I totally agree. And also, I think another, value that a lot of these guys should have in their minds, a goal, I should say, to be consistent. I mean, you don't necessarily have to win all these stages. You could get a top 5 in every stage, a top 5 in the race, and do that all season long. And you'll find yourself up in contention for a championship. I mean, I think we've seen that from a lot of the guys out there to be able to do that. If you're just consistent, don't cause a lot of trouble, run a quiet race. I mean, sometimes it pays to do that.
Certainly does pay off to just be consistent, which if that means backing off of one battle to save a race, back off of that battle to save a race. Sometimes it isn't worth it, fighting it out for like 13th place when you know that you're going to be able to make up a couple of spots later on as pit stops and everything cycles on through. You see Wayne Grossi look for the inside of Oxford through 3 and 4. That pass didn't really go anywhere though. And Wayne Grossi, I think, is going to be having a solid run at things as well. Oxford.
Big wiggle for Corey Cook. Wow.
Big wiggles everywhere you look in this field. Drivers, like you mentioned, really starting to struggle from Atlanta, and you have to wonder maybe if it's more than the temperature at this point. I have to think the tire wear has kicked in big time for the field.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the track is a little bit hotter. So, when these guys are going over the surface, they're laying down some rubber, and that rubber's sticky. And sometimes, it could even harden up and become a little bit more slicker, too. You're not able to get as much traction. Ooh, Don Avery getting real loose back here in 10th place. He's going to succeed or give that spot to the 41. A lot of people having some issues here. Wouldn't be surprised to see some more adjustments laid in, maybe going back the other way in some cases. Definitely going to be some guys trying to get some damage off. I know Corey Cook, looking at him, he's going to be trying to maybe get a little bit more repairs done on that. He's kind of had, hit the wall a couple times, and it's not what you want to see for sure. 5 laps to go on the stage, though. Kenny Powell looking like he is the smart money man right now.
And Kenny Powell has just been able to break away, and he has led every single lap from when he took the race lead away from Corey Cook at the top of the stage. They're still battling it out, though, for those spots right around the mid-pack. With Grossi getting past Oxford, LeBron also looking like he wants to make up ground. And Oxford wanted to take a top 5 back. This is the battle for the last top 5 position in Stage 2. Which is, of course, just one more point that you can count logged away for when you really need those points later on in the season. Oxford pushing up from the apron. LeBron looking low with 3 to go now in Stage 2.
Yeah, this could get physical. I would not be surprised to see this get physical here.
It already has.
Yeah, even more physical, I should say. I mean, considering these guys are at the end of the at their tire run in a lot of ways. At that point to where the tires are probably worn more than they've probably seen in this race so far, and that's going to cause some handling. As you could see some guys started sailing on in there, getting tight. Maybe even see some door banging.
Battles on for the lead. Schaffner got past Powell this last time by. Powell got really sideways in turns 1 and 2, and that let Schaffner sweep right through his pit road closes.
Do you know what might have caused that, too, in a lot of ways? We've seen Powell. He's been so used to running in that clean air. Look at Robert Pattengale getting real loose. He's there on the apron. I'm thinking maybe the dirty air off of Pattengale maybe have lent to that.
Pattengale stays low, lets the top 3 through. Does Kenny Powell have anything for Josh Schaffner? 1 lap to go in stage number 2. Closing the distance. Look at how much he sucks up with the draft. Backs out of them before they get to turn 1. Powell will now look low, and he'll pull alongside with Schaffner, but he gets loose again, and that's going to give the run to Schaffner out of turn number 2, and I think that might be it for Kenny Powell. Matt DeCiani is close enough to have a look into 3.
I like what Kenny Powell did there. You saw he kind of laid off a little bit on the entry. He was trying to build up a run on the exit there, and that's what you got to do at a track like Atlanta, but just unfortunately got real loose there. So it looks like Josh Schaffner going to be your stage 2 winner.
Schaffner, the stage 2 winner, as the caution down, he'll get the lucky dog and find himself back on the lead lap just in time for stage 3.
Man, that was exciting, to say the least. I mean, there was side-by-side battles going all over the place. Hard to cover it all, considering we were trying to see that race for the lead.
Another stage logged away. We'll take a brief step back, and once again, we'll be back with you in a few.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at TheButtKicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Mark Paget misses the pit box as pit stops underway under the stage 2 caution. DeCiani is going to beat a lot of people out of pit road here. Kenny Powell with a very, very slow stop. Unfortunate there for Kenny Powell as he now slips all the way down the order straight to last place. And Josh Schaffner, the driver that won the stage, is going to be second from the bottom.
Wow, this is such a big change in the running order here. Matt DeCiani, excellent pit stop there. I do believe it was a 14.5 that he was able to pull out there on that stop. And everybody else just seemed like they were struggling.
And we will see if we can't get in touch with your stage 2 winner on the night, because I have to say, I'm a bit curious to see what on earth happened there. Josh Schaffner joins in the broadcast booth. Josh, what happened, man? You won the second stage, and now you're near the back.
Yeah, I kind of stole one there from Kenny. He had a little bit of trouble there, but Ken and I both were getting damage fixed. I had I kind of tagged the wall right by the flag stand there and got 16 seconds, and definitely hurting the car, so I thought I'd take the time now. We still got 95 laps to go to get that fixed, and now it's just going to take a lot of patience. Hopefully we can methodically work our way back up there.
So you think you're going to be confident on your abilities to get yourself yet another race win and kick the second season of the year off on a high?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. This This is a big setback, and it's all going to hinge on this restart's going to be critical. I'm going to have to pick some positions off here fairly quick in the first 3-4 laps. If we can do that, I feel good about it. If I don't clear some cars here and maybe kind of get up to 7th or 8th here in the first 3 laps, I'm going to be a little bit nervous because it's really tough to pass after 15, 20 laps.
A lot of drivers have been getting very, very loose, a lot more so in Stage 2 than we had in Stage 1. Do you have any thoughts on what might be a contributing factor to that?
Yeah, it's been a challenge all week. I decided before the race, I just did a complete 180. I decided, I'm not going to fight this issue with getting loose, especially off of turn 2. So I just put together an overly tight setup where I'm not fighting that whatsoever. I'm actually fighting a little bit tight. So I'm actually trying to free the car up here as the race goes on, making some progress. But, if you can just run consistent laps and not be fighting loose and losing momentum down the back stretch, it seems to be strategy that's paying off so far.
We'll let you get back to it because I just noticed it is 1 to green. Before I let you go then, Josh, anybody you'd like to shout out for that Plenish number 50 machine?
Yeah, I got to thank the Plenish brand, Pioneer Seed, Smith Farms, and, also just got to thank our farmers and farm families in the country. And, if you're out and about in the countryside and you see a farmer, just make sure to thank them for all the hard work they do year in, year out.
And thank you, Josh, for taking the time to join us up here in the broadcast booth. Congrats on a Stage 2 win. Best of luck in the 3rd and final stage.
Thanks, Nolan. Good luck up there. Enjoy the show.
We heard it there.
He left me out. He don't care about me. He left me out.
Well, you heard him there. The restart will be critical, Brian, and he's got to make those spots up in the first 15 or so laps, even though you've got almost 100 to go still in the race.
Yeah, I think that has been one of the biggest stories tonight. Is just how hard it is to pass at this track, and I think a lot of it comes down to the dirty air. Not even just being behind another car, but being beside another car too. You get that air dumped on your spoiler, definitely slows you down. I think that's what we're seeing here.
Pace cars down and in, and we are getting set to go. Green flag racing. Matt DeCiani is going to take us back to the green flag conditions. And while we are at it, I want to point out as well that John Mullins still in pit road, I believe getting damage repairs. And on top of that, Mark Padgett out of the race temporarily due to connection troubles. But we're green flag racing once again from Atlanta.
That is just so unfortunate to see that, those guys having those issues like that. There's been a lot of that going around in iRacing lately.
Look at Schaffner 3 wide up the inside of Greg Bartlett, the random drumhiller. That's 2 down and a few more left to go still. Schaffner looking to be aggressive, looking to make up these moves early while it still counts and while he still can. Kenny Powell, the next driver in his wake, the driver he was fighting with for a Stage 2 win, up the inside of Powell, and on top of that, you've got drivers, as you saw, McMeekin trying to hang on. Loose, saves it. What a save there. Power sliding up the corner for the Pennzoil 7 Chevrolet.
Yeah, Josh Schaffner and Kenny Powell still side by side. Oxford getting a little bit tight there in front of Josh Schaffner. That's going to slow him down. This is what Schaffner was talking about, how it's going to be hard to pass. These guys that are, just fast enough to be in the way a little bit here. Matthew McMeekin getting a good run on the top there on Oxford, though.
On top of it all, Wachinski takes the lead away, and I think there's a bit of a bobble there.
Oh.
McMeekin sideways, still losing the car. That's it.
Caution.
That's it. Caution number 1 for a wreck on the day. Caution number 3 overall.
Wow.
Kozlowski gets into it big. You saw Greg Bartlett got into it in a big way. I think Kenny Powell got a piece of that. And Drumhiller was in it.
We were waiting on the big one. That was it.
Yeah, only about like 5 or 6 cars that got spun around. That's a very weird incident. What it looks like to me is Oxford started to push up, and there was a bit of a miscommunication between No, actually, I don't even think it was that. I think McMeekin just got loose and overcorrected it around.
Yeah, I think he just got loose and then tried to catch it. He had it for a second, but it just overcorrected it, and just was not able to save that machine. And Al Kozlowski came up so fast, just plowed right into him.
Man, oh man, you can see how much he tried to save it. He almost had that thing saved too, and I think it was that hit right
Al
there.
Kozlowski, that really sent him truly spinning around.
Yeah,
man, what a wonder Kenny Powell and Kendall LeVron were able to make it by that. Kendall LeVron, he actually touched him a little bit there, but I think he got out of that relatively clean.
On board with Kozlowski, who you can see is, where do you go? Oh, he got hooked as well.
Oh, yeah,
Kozlowski. Yeah, Kozlowski, I think, got hooked in the middle of that whole mess, and I believe it was hooked by actually Greg Bartlett. but Bartlett didn't get turned himself. I think Bartlett got loose, trying to come down to get out of the incident, just clipped Kozlowski in the process. Take another look at it.
Yeah, this is an interesting accident here. Yeah, it looks like Bartlett just came down, just clipped him. That was all it took. I don't know, though. I mean, I feel like a lot of these guys could have avoided this accident if they you know, you see that tire smoke. That's something, you know, you don't just try to gas it through something like that, you know.
So under caution for the first time for an actual wreck, and it's early in stage number 1. Now, good news for Schaffner about all this mess is that has helped him in a huge way. He's going to be finding himself all the way up in 3rd place now because of that.
Yeah, that helped him out quite a ton. Also helped out Kenny Powell. I mean, but yeah, Josh Schaffner are going to be now back in contention. Truly, I mean, you know, being stuck back there 7th and 8th place, it's kind of hard to be in contention. But now he's in 3rd. He's way closer to be able to making something happen here.
So all of that puts us under the caution flag once again, and it has been a bit of an interesting ride, shall we say, for a good number of people that have been kind of sorting themselves out. Excuse me, I can't think properly almost. I'm a bit in awe of what we just saw there, but it's been an interesting race so far. We went caution free for so long, and seems like that trend might be coming to a close. We're just hoping, of course, that this race going to be able to go green for some distance still before the end of the night.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, the Monster 250, Monster provided a lot of Monster energy drinks. Guys probably drink too many of them.
And they give it up to us, apparently.
Man, Matt DeCiani, I mean, him able to win that race off pit road earlier, this could set him up for a race win, but still not within the fuel run. These guys still have a green flag pit stop. If we go green from here, that's really going to change everything up. We've already seen some issues of guys missing their box on on pit road under yellow. Imagine what happens here if you know, you do that under green flag conditions. I mean, that could be very costly.
Looking at the hood of DeCiani's car, I'm a bit of a loss of words. There's several words that I wouldn't necessarily associate with one another, and he's got a lot of them lined up right together with him. Chameleon, cold brew, and coffee.
I drink it. I try it.
What does cold brew even mean? I thought coffee was supposed to be hot.
I don't know, man. That's just one of those new things. Probably Starbucks or something inspired. I don't know. I mean, I've never.
No, it's not Starbucks. It's Chameleon, clearly.
Of course, but I don't know. I've never really actually drinking cold brew coffee, but I'd be willing to try it. I mean,
I'm not much of a coffee person myself. It's never really grabbed me. You know, I always kind of gave off the impression of cough syrup whenever I had it.
oh Lord, cough syrup! You're drinking the wrong coffee. Like, you are drinking the wrong coffee.
It's from the certain franchise with an M in the logo, so we'll leave it at that, apparently, from the one place where I tried it. Paget also just had some more technical difficulties, so Mark Paget's into that, it seems like, could use a little bit of coffee.
We've been seeing that a lot. Like I said earlier, we've been seeing that a lot with a lot of different drivers as of late. I know with all my broadcasts I do, just been a lot of guys having throughput errors and things like that. I don't know, maybe it could be involved with the most recent update. I don't know.
Back out of turn number 4, and it's Matt DeCiani who will once again take us back to green flag racing here from beautiful Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, great start there from Matt DeCiani. Also a great start from Josh Schaffner. We saw him start 3rd on that restart. He's up to 2nd now, able to defeat Don Avery here. And now he's going to try to challenge for the lead. Gets a good run on the bottom here.
And that's going to put Schaffner through to the lead, but he's not without company. Don Avery trying to have a run on the inside, but he can't move anywhere. Powell's going to try to take the outside line and follow DeCiani through, but both of those drivers check up on corner exit.
Yeah, this is that time I think we're going to see a lot of guys maybe willing to take it 3 wide. I think Kenny Powell, I think he'd be willing to take it 3 wide as he does think about it. Is he going to take it?
Oh, gets into DeCiani. They make contact.
Oh,
and
look at
save
that.
it.
Greg Wachinski lost it just now.
And all 3 drivers managed to save it. This is incredible stuff that we're starting to see. It's all kicked off for the Monster 250 at Atlanta.
Yeah, I know someone who has made a little bit of a resurgence here. Corey Cook back up into the top 5 right now, challenging James Oxford. Oxford going to be able to keep that 4th position locked down right now. Wayne Grossi also trying to challenge here. All kinds of guys really stepping up to the plate here. But one person's having a really big problem is Greg Wachinski. He has fallen back all the way down to 10th. His car is just not handling right.
Probably needs to give those tires a bit of opportunity to get themselves cooled down before he'll be able to have another run at it. As you can see, this battle for these top 5 spots continuing to rage on. Cook moving back to the top shelf, but it's not coming into play just yet. Wayne Grossi still finding the low side around the exit turn 2 and has the nose in for 3.
Yeah, Wayne Grossi, that 7 Pennzoil machine's been looking pretty quick here tonight. Like I said, he was one of the fastest guys in practice. Looks like he's got a pretty good car. Maybe not so good on the long run. But I'm telling you what, the person that's been one to watch has been James Oxford. He's definitely been putting on quite the show, almost acting like a gatekeeper to this top 4.
Starting to catch potentially the top or 2nd and 3rd as well, who are going side by side. Powell and Avery just sorted their own battles out. Grossi you can still see in a fight with Corey Cook. You can tell that the Guardian 61 Chevrolet doing a good job on trying to pull the outside line, but the Pennzoil 7 is not making it a very easy task on the inside, is he? Wayne Grossi doesn't have to find himself fighting for top spots, but he has so far ever since he made that switch to the Next Gen Series. He does not want to let that try. And Powell's getting spun, and Powell's been spun around on the back straightaway. What a save for the 24 car, spun all the way around and wrestled that car back under control before he hit the inside wall with no caution.
Unfortunately, that was no caution. I'm going to take another look back at this.
Replays up on the screens and gets loose by himself. Avery
Don Avery hits
off.
Yep.
And look at that. What a save.
He's got to be kind of upset about it, but wow, that is something to behold there. That kind of a save. Man, I just can't believe that. I mean, you don't see that very often.
Oxford and Cook looking to do battle with Wayne Grossi and DeCiani also fighting it out on the low side. And you can see Corey Cook going to be opting to take the low side. You've also got James Oxford fighting it out. Oxford maintaining his momentum as he takes a little bit of a bobble and kind of slipping and sliding all over the place. Wayne Grossi also wants to find a way through. DeCiani wants to regain lost time.
Well, I mean, I think what's happening here is these guys are being kind of held up a little bit. Don Avery, if you look at that front end on that race car, lots of damage. And I think that's slowing him down. I think that's what's slowing everybody in this little pack down.
You reckon down on power?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe aerodynamic deficits here, but it looks like Oxford's not going to have any problems getting around on the top side.
Oh, and Avery's loose again. Not making it any easier. And he's definitely down on power. You saw how quickly Corey Cook just blitzed past the outside line. That's a power issue, not so much aerodynamics for Don Avery. DeCiani going to go through, and Wayne Grossi will seal the deal. Kendall LeBron also going to go up a spot.
Yeah, these guys all recognize the signs of some heavily damaged vehicle. They're all going to line up on the top and get right around. Now, it looks like Kendall LeBron maybe having a little bit more difficulty to get around him, though he does get past. So Don Avery going to desperately need to get that car worked on.
And that puts Oxford second place on the racetrack now with a 2.5-second gap up to Josh Schaffner way up the road with no competition for the race lead.
I mean, he's got to love this right now. But the thing is you know, if any kind of caution or anything like that comes out, oh, Matt DeCiani into the outside wall in 1 and 2. Nothing going to come from that. I do believe he's going to have some scrapes on that. But Josh Schaffner, if he sees the yellow flag come out, I have to say he's probably going to have some butterflies or a pit in his stomach, just considering when you got 2.3 seconds on the field, you know, you want to keep that. A little bit of a wiggle there from Oxford here. He's definitely not handling very well as Corey Cook going to take over second place.
Well, not quite sealed the deal yet, unless he can really rip the outside line. He did that amazingly in stage 1, and it looks like he will this time by Oxford bobbles at it too. Wayne Grossi going to look to overtake for 3rd place. This is now a battle for a podium position instead of a top 5 like it was before. Grossi to the bottom, and it looks like he will be up and past. No, not quite. James Oxford still fighting it out on the high side.
Yeah, Oxford definitely has been doing a great job, running a very defensive line, holding these guys back. But, I mean, as soon as they saw blood in the water, Nolan, these guys scrambled. They scrambled for it. I'm telling you, a bunch of sharks out here we're watching.
Grossi continuing to drag race this one out with Oxford through 3 and 4. Look at Oxford pinching in the Pennzoil Chevrolet. Oh, and they make a bit more contact. And Wayne Grossi will yield. Oxford's going to go through to 3rd. I think LeBron going to be looking a little bit more eager here to make up a top 5 spot as well.
Yeah, I think the gloves are starting to come off, even though we still have so much left to go in this race. I mean, this is a little early for these gloves to come off like this. Bare knuckle boxing going on right now here between Wayne Grossi and Oxford.
Grossi going to look low, and it's going to get a bit tight between himself, Oxford, and Corey Cook. Wayne Grossi pulls the bottom. Not letting these 2 drivers in front of him breathe at the moment. He might not be able to go for the positions and complete them, but he certainly does want to try for it, and try he will. Looking for the low side every opportunity he can to try to find a way through.
Genius level, decisions making here going from Corey Cook. You saw how he went to the bottom. He's trying to push or pull Wayne Grossi along to keep those guys side by side. I think Corey Cook's still being affected from that damage that he had earlier. But he's still able to rip that top line so well and control both lanes to try to keep these guys side by side.
Yeah, I agree. He's doing a phenomenal job on trying to keep where things are at. And you know that it's not going to be very long before he'll be able to find himself right up and back in the midst of things, fighting for those top spots right how he deserves to be. So we will see how this could run out, but I have to say, this could be very, very intriguing here if this continues to develop as I think it might.
Oh, I don't think it's over by a long shot. I mean, we still could see a late race caution that could change everything. Of course, Josh Schaffner won't want that, but to be honest with you, Schaffner, he was out to about over 2 seconds of a lead. Not anymore. Josh Schaffner losing time now as Corey Cook starting to lay into that lead.
Corey Cook starting to lay into his own little lead. And Corey Cook going to be looking to try to pull a gap on Wayne Grossi, who has finally broken clear from James Oxford. The thing is, I'm not so sure Grossi will have an easy time getting by Corey Cook, as Cook has proven before he is willing to go defensive where it counts. Cook's into the outside wall. That opens up the door for Grossi to hunt the bottom into turn 1.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. A little bit of a scrape on the outside wall. That's not going to be good. Going to get some of that momentum away. But, man, my question has got to be what's going on with Josh Schaffner right now. He has slowed down substantially.
Like they burned his stuff up early on.
It has to be something. That's one thing when you're all by yourself out there in the lead. You don't have anybody really to judge yourself on, to know if you're burning them up too much. I think that's what we're seeing from him. I mean, I just don't think he really had any reference point to see, hey, am I going too fast? Am I burning my equipment up? Because I mean, these guys, Wayne Grossi right now, and and company, are really starting to catch up to him. Almost now, it's almost a second now. These guys are
and they're battling.
So this is curious. This is very curious. We thought Schaffner was going to be able to just separate and leave, but it does not look like that is going to be the case. We're going to see a fight for the lead here in just a short couple laps, I do believe.
I mean, to be fair, he did certainly separate and leave. He just didn't stay left. He's closing it right back in again.
Oxford getting real loose there. It's going to give an opportunity maybe to Kendall LeBron to try to work his way up to 4th. Oxford definitely, I think he's been having some handling issues. Looking at that front end, I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but I do see a couple little bends, maybe a little bit of some dents and bangs that, collectively could add up to why he's having these handling issues.
Those little bumps and bangs, they can add up really, really quickly on this car. We've seen this before. These cars do not take very kindly to being damaged. They are very, very sensitive when it comes to that sort of thing. And even in the best of conditions, these cars can still be an absolute handful to wrangle. So when you add
especially around here.
Yeah, exactly. A bumpy track like this, it's a nightmare for cars like these, especially if it's got damage.
Wayne Grossi, though, is really laying into Josh Schaffner's lead. Now only 0.6 separate first and second. This is going to get wild here in just a short time. Corey Cook getting a little bit loose there on the exit, able to keep that going.
About 3/4 of a second, just under that now, between Schaffner and Grossi. And this gap is going to continue to slowly but surely shrink on in as Wayne Grossi looks for the low side, trying to defend from Corey Cook while keep on his offensive charge as well. And now, how about this? Both drivers started to migrate to the outside lane. Schaffner's already started doing that, but Wayne Grossi, of course, will be able to use that draft now, which these cars are good in, to be able to pull himself right back up to the Plenish Machine's bumper.
I think that's what we were seeing. I think that's why Schaffner fell off so much. He might have went up there prematurely. And, but Schaffner always struck me as a guy that was very conscientious when it came to, how he drives his car, maintaining his equipment. I don't know if he burned his stuff too much. I just think he went up to the top and maybe was waiting for these guys to catch back up. I don't know. I mean, maybe, looks like Corey Cook, a little bit of some tire smoke coming off that race car.
And Bob will slide through turns 1 and 2, and that will allow for Wayne Grossi to pull clear a little bit more. And now Schaffner's got one more thing to contend with. Dirty air. He's caught Robert Pattengale. And
we saw how that affected Kenny Powell earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and I'm thinking potential problems deeper in the field. Matthew McMeekin looks like he will be coming into pit road this time by.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me anyway. I mean, his car was already heavily damaged from that impact that he sustained earlier with all the other drivers. Al Kozlowski, I know, was involved in that one.
Quarter of a second now between Schaffner and Grossi in the battle for the race lead, and Grossi is there. He is ready to pounce on Josh Schaffner. Battle for the lead, folks, about to kick on. Wayne Grossi is ready to pounce. Less than a car in the way. To the inside as the Pennzoil number 7 Chevrolet. And Josh Schaffner try as he might. It's only a matter of time at this rate to when he loses that lead.
Yeah, but I mean, kind of referencing, quoting what paraphrasing, I should say, what Josh Schaffner said in his interview. At a certain point, it gets so hard to pass. So I mean, is Wayne Grossi going to be able to actually get this pass completed? That's going to be another question. One thing to catch someone, another thing completely to pass. But it looks like Wayne Grossi got a good bit of momentum on that bottom.
Entering 3. I think what he's really got to do is push up a little bit more and lean on Schaffner, right? Keep him from being able to properly turn in. That's Wayne Grossi's issue right now. He's giving Schaffner too much room to work with. He's giving him too much room to take the line that he really wants. And that is what has just caused Grossi to drop back by a couple of car lengths.
And I think as soon as the fuel window opens, if I was a man like Wayne Grossi, I would try to short pit Schaffner. If you can't pass him on the track, pass him in the pits. I mean, we're coming up on that fuel window here shortly. I know 49 laps is about what the suggested fuel run here was. So we're coming up on that shortly.
Be about 14 laps or so, and then you'd be guaranteed safe to the end on fuel. So I'd say we could expect drivers to be coming in as early as 10 laps from now.
And that's when the pressure is so much on. I mean, when it comes to green flag pit stops, if you speed on pit road, get an unsafe pit entry, you miss your box. Even if you miss your box, I mean, it costs you a second. A second on the racetrack when they're green flag racing is an eternity.
Kind of checking in just really quickly here as to how we're looking at the moment when it comes to overall pit strategies so far. A lot of drivers have been coming in under that last caution period 33 laps ago. So they are a bit further to the good than they were before. 49 laps, that's about 16 laps from now. So we could be seeing drivers coming in as late as lap 120 or so before we see the last couple of stragglers finally commit to pit road.
Yeah, I mean, we always see, a varying degree of strategies between all these drivers. I mean, some guys like to wait till, a little bit longer. That way they have a little bit more of an advantage when it comes to tires later in this race. Some guys are going to want to try to go as quick as they can. I know Kendall LeBron right now up in third. He's still under fire from Corey Cook. Man, what a run from that 0-0 here tonight.
Rossi's back to the inside of Schaffner. They're dead even at the line that last time by. Grossi now pulls ahead. Schaffner, though, able to run the outside line. Grossi pushing up from the inside. Schaffner, though, hanging that momentum high side. Strong and true. Grossi pushes up. Starting to get a little bit more aggressive in his Pennzoil number 7 Chevrolet. Once again, hunting low on Josh Schaffner, but he's not able to really commit and make that pass stick. He just has to lift off too much from the bottom.
I think if I was in Wayne Grossi's shoes, I would try to follow Schaffner. I mean, I wouldn't even be trying to pass him right now because, I mean, it just seems like it's too much of a task. I think at this point, the tires, he's just wearing his tires more trying to pass him.
Might not be a bad idea to just kind of sit behind and maybe undercut him when you get around to the pit stops. In about 3 laps or so, you're guaranteed safe to the end on fuel if you come down to pit. Just wait those extra 3 laps and just stick right behind and then pit right away. You're going to be good on fresh tires for a while. You'll be under fire once pit stops end, yes. But if he's really faster than Schaffner is, he might be able to pull out a gap that would be insurmountable before the end of the race.
I mean, and even if he's not able to pull off that gap and guys are pressuring him, the thing is we're seeing this right now. Schaffner burnt his stuff up. Wayne Grossi's trying to challenge him. He's not able to pass. It's one thing to pass, or one thing to catch it, another thing completely to pass. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing on display fully right now is, Wayne Grossi trying to figure out everything he can. If I was Grossi, I would try to get above Schaffner to try to take that line away from him. But Schaffner's protecting that thing. He is not letting anyone get above him.
Track temperature overall has been cooling as well as we get set to go racing closer and closer to the evening. It is down to just 95 degrees Fahrenheit, which is only 11 degrees hotter than it is in the air presently. So track is relatively cooled down now. I think Ross is more set up for a cooler track, and that is what is helping him keep close and constantly keep pressure on your race leader.
Well, I think that is spelling good vibes for everybody out here. Considering we saw that you mentioned even earlier in this race the 5 laps or 5 degrees temperature variant could really be change everything. And I think we saw these guys having some poor handling earlier when it was hotter. We haven't seen that quite as much as of late.
And you also heard that Josh Schaffner fixed his car so it would be a much tighter setup that he wasn't used to. He'd be fighting tight. That is only exacerbated on a cooler track, right? Because it's not as slippery. You have a lot more grip. I mean, if you have a tight car, it's going to be that much more likely that you're going to find yourself pushing up. I think that's why he's so slow. It might be a setup problem.
It could very well be. I mean, the temperature changing, I think that makes the most sense to me. The temperature changing kind of tighten that car up. I know he mentioned he wanted to try to free it up as he went on. I don't think he freed it up enough. As Wayne Grossi's still sticking right there with him. And these guys are within the fuel window now. So this could be the time we see some guys maybe make that, that gamble to go down pit road.
Oxford's already in pit road. He came in this lap, dropped out of 5th position, and is now going to be at risk of losing a lap throughout the pit stops. But, of course, everybody else going to have to pit as well. Grossi back low in turn number 3. Schaffner lifting off a little bit giving Grossi some room to keep his nose ahead all the way out through turn number 4. But look at how quick he is on corner exit. Schaffner just so good on the high side.
If I was Grossi, I'd be pitting any lap now.
Oh, boy!
Really tight. That was almost a problem right there, boy. Yeah, I would pit now. If I was Grossi, I would pit. Like,
well, if he's also faster on Schaffner, why bother pitting now? You got the pace. Try to get by him on the track.
Though. I mean, he just kept, getting tight like that. It's kind of a danger. I don't know. I'd want to.
That's side drafting, though. That's just how you get when you get sucked into the bubble these cars generate.
Oh, okay. I didn't write. So you think that was a voluntary thing? Maybe he's just quit. Like maybe he's taking the kid gloves off. You mentioned earlier, like he's been giving Schaffner plenty of room. Maybe Wayne Grossi's tired of waiting here. Maybe he's like, you know what? I'm going to do anything I can to get by you right now.
What's crucial here is if he stays on his inside with Schaffner the way he is now, constantly around the racetrack, if Schaffner wants to pit sooner, he's not going to be able to unless he's the one that lifts off, gifting Grossi the lead. I wonder if that's what he's trying to do.
That's
trying
smart.
to pressure Schaffner into giving him the race lead.
That is smart. It's like playing chicken. He's playing chicken right now.
And that obviously would cause Schaffner to lose several tenths of a second on just pit entry alone.
Yeah, because he'd have to slow down. And it looks like Wayne Grossi, I think, might be deciding to pit here. Oh, never mind. I saw him slow down. I thought maybe he was deciding to pit there, but no, he's going to stay out for another lap. Matt DeCiani is down pit road, though, and also Don Avery. Greg Wyszynski making his way. Yep, I'm sorry. My bad.
We saw the same thing at the same time. Corey Cook is also looking close with Kendall LeBron in the battle for the final podium position, and they have been steadily closing in to the race leaders. Not as much as it was Grossi from third to second, but they are only 7 tenths of a second away now, about 6.5 now, and they were over a second a little while ago. So they've been steadily closing this gap in. This battle for the lead is not going anywhere anytime soon.
No, not at all. I mean, the thing is we got this battle for lead, but, I mean, these guys are so close right there. I mean, pit road is going to be everything here. I mean, with all the pressure that's on Wayne Grossi and Josh Schaffner right now, the pressure they're putting on each other, and also seeing their relative and seeing Kendall LeBron coming up on them, they could make a mistake on pit road. When you got that adrenaline going, could make a mistake. You see Corey Cook trying to look on the inside of Kendall LeBron. Tell you what, Cook has been through trials and tribulations here tonight, and he's came out. He's definitely kept that consistency, that persistence, determination. I think is high in that 61 machine here tonight.
Oxford and Kenny Powell and Rand Drummer are all in pit road, and Schaffner's made the call. He's pitting this time. So your race leader is going to be entering pit road, and Grossi takes the race lead away. Leaving it a 3-car battle now for the race lead. They're getting around a very slow Al Kozlowski. I have to imagine that Kozlowski has had some major issues that we're not aware of, because he was checking it. That's about 130 miles an hour in just the tri-oval. Corey Cook said he's pitting in this time by, but he's up top of Kendall LeBron, but LeBron's also said he's pitted in, so that will not be a problem as they're both going to be entering pit road this time.
Well, I mean, you got to remember, Nolan, about Al Kozlowski. He hit, I think it was Matthew McMeekin with that front end. I think that's what's causing him to. He's probably got a lot of engine damage.
Grossi stays out. 2nd through 5th all in the pit road. Kozlowski also in this time by, leaving just Grossi, I believe, to come down to pit road.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think this next time by, we're going to see Grossi go down too. I think it's a good call that he kind of overcutted it rather than undercut. Like you said, he was kind of playing chicken there with Josh Schaffner. This could work out. Wayne Grossi could still easily win this race, and there he goes. I think he's coming down pit road.
You'll see it at the tail end of this shot here. There is Grossi into pit road, way in the back. And now, where is James Oxford? Oxford, by the way, currently out past Josh Schaffner. Oxford up to 2nd place. Clear by 1.5. Could James Oxford be the new race leader at the end of it all? Wayne Grossi is still in the pits. Just got his right size changed. Oxford's coming around turn 4. Rossi's not going to get out there in time. Oxford's your new race leader.
Yeah, he is. I mean, looking very strong out there. James Oxford has been one to watch, I think, all race long. He's going to take the lead here. Is he going to keep it? That's another question entirely, but we've seen how hard it is to make passes here. Oxford's on about, I do believe, 8-lap older tires than Josh Schaffner is right now. So I think Oxford's going to have to do everything he can to try to keep Schaffner behind him. We could see that 79 grab his first race win here in that Winn-Dixie machine. I'm sure Winn-Dixie would be happy to see their car in victory lane.
But you are correct that Schaffner is closing in. Last lap by 0.3 quicker. So he's closing in, but not by a whole lot, not by as much as I think he might like. If he's not by him in the next 10 or 5 to 10 laps or so, Schaffner's going to be in trouble.
And you see Oxford keeps going low in the straightaways. He's trying to break the draft on Schaffner. He doesn't want to give him any draft, but I almost think that's a bad call. Just considering when you go low on those straightaways, if you don't get up in time towards the wall when you're entering these corners to arc it, you're going to be losing a lot on these corners. And I think that's, Schaffner is just gaining so much time because he's able to take the optimal line here.
Down to 0.3 of a second between first and second place. Onto the back straightaway. Josh Schaffner continuing to close in the gap. Oxford at this rate is going to be under very heavy fire. And I do not think that Oxford is going to be able to get there in time.
Wayne Grossi has made a pass on Kendall LeBron for the 5th place. He's trying to work his way up. Also a big battle going on 3rd and 4th here is Greg Wyszynski and Matt DeCiani right there on each other. But Josh Schaffner able to take the lead here. And this could be the move that he needed to make here. This could win him the race as we have just a little bit over 30 laps remaining.
You can also see Wayne Grossi and Kendall LeBron. Dak Gavin is a bit close. It's now the closest battle on the field as Schaffner quickly pulls out a half a second plus lead. Make that over a second now as they hit the back straightaway. Oh, and actually, Oxford got into the outside wall. No wonder that lead is pulling away quickly.
There might be a caution here. This could be a problem.
Oh, yeah, okay, you're right. Oh!
Corey Cook. Oh,
all
my
right, so
word.
we're going to keep with, you saw the bit of a move there with James Oxford, and going to look at this again as there was no yellow for that either. How is there no caution for this, Brian? Explain this to me.
My word. I mean, that is just Corey
outside
Cook.
wall, gets loose again, comes back on the track, slams Corey Cook, and that's not a caution.
And to be honest
Irish
with
dropped the ball again.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what's really sad about this, too? This is the second time we've seen an incident like this with Oxford, where he's taking out someone else. That's just,
First time was Robert Pattengale, it was at Vegas. Oh, man.
I feel so bad for Corey Cook. Man.
How is there no yellow for that? That's what I want to know.
Almost need to throw an admin yellow for that. I mean, goodness.
I mean, yeah, because you had drivers that were scrambling onto the apron to get around that because they would have wrecked otherwise.
I saw like 5 cars go down on their apron.
Heck, actually, I'm pretty sure Mark Padgett got a piece of that, actually, because the caution wasn't thrown.
That is one that definitely going to be looking at later.
Good grief.
Well, good news for Josh Schaffner that the caution didn't come out, though.
Wayne Grossi up the inside of Wyszynski for the back straightaway. This is for second. So Grossi might not be able to go for a win, but he'll certainly be able to take a podium still at this rate.
I mean, what a race. You got to really take your hat off to Wayne Grossi. He has been putting in a heck of performances, performance after performance, really. I mean, that 7 car, like you said, whenever he transitioned to this next-gen car, something unlocked in him.
Yeah, it's definitely been solid for Wayne Grossi, who has, I think, loving this new next-gen car. It's a very split opinion of the NASCAR community as to whether you love this car or you hate this car, particularly with the way it drives, right? I think Rossi's leaning more towards the love it side.
And also, Greg Wyszynski lining up. It could be a really good finish here. He's in 3rd place right now. Still up in the air, though. I mean, we have, I do believe, now 30 laps remaining. Kendall LeVron has a chance to maybe catch up here. I mean, looking at lap times right now, LeVron, they're running about the same lap time, to be honest with you. So, I don't know. LeVron going to have to really put it in high gear to try to make something happen. Caution's out.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yellow flag on the speedway.
Don Avery.
Avery on his own into the outside wall and loops it around. That's not the caution that Schaffner wanted or needed.
No, definitely not. When you have a 4-second gap, I mean, this puts, you know, this really changes everything. We could really see anybody in this top 5 win this race.
Just overcorrected into the outside wall.
Huge hit.
Yeah, pancake the
Oh,
wall.
look at Powell. Powell gets a piece of it.
Yeah, he nailed him too. I didn't even see that.
No. Just all kinds of just unfortunate things happening here tonight.
On board with Kenny Powell here, you'll see him just get the smallest nick. And pit stops now underway under this caution period, understandably so. As Schaffner, Grossi, Wachinski, LeVron, DeCiani, Drumhiller, Powell, Cook, and Oxford all into pit road this time. Cook and Oxford were already in pit road to fix damage.
Oh, big problem here from Josh Schaffner. He misses his box. He's still not in his box.
Oh, boy. This is huge. And he actually hit the pit wall, I'm
yeah,
pretty
he
sure.
did. I wonder if the cat was messing with him or something. Man, that is unfortunate. Wayne Grossi, he has got a big chance to win this race now because of that huge mistake. Luckily, Josh Schaffner only falls back to 4th place, so that could have been even worse.
It's all going to kick off in a few moments in the massive battle for the raceway, which will go back green with under 30 laps to go. We'll take a brief step away, and we'll be back when we go green.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
One lap left to go before we go green flag racing. I believe it'll be 25 laps to go. Brian, when we take the green flag here. 4th caution just coming to the close of it. 2 for stages. 2nd one for Rex. Both Rex in the 2nd stage on the day. What's thoughts on how this race has gone so far? You got any favorites you might have to win tonight's race?
I'm looking at Wayne Grossi. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I know as a commentator I'm supposed to be biased, or unbiased, I should say. I'm a little bit biased towards Graham Grossi. I'd love to see that Pennzoil 7 in victory lane here tonight.
Did you just call him Grain Grossi?
I could very well have, but I mean, this race is really scrambled my brains in a lot of ways.
All right, so Mr. Material that makes bread Grossi going to be coming around through turn number 4 as we get set to take this race back to green flag racing. Grossi going to lead us back for the Monster Energy 250. 25 to go from Atlanta as they spin the tires on the restart in a big way.
Yeah, that's something that Atlanta has always got to be on your mind. You almost got to treat that gas pedal on these restarts like you got an egg underneath it. Wayne Grossi just out to a tremendous lead on this start group with that spin of the tires from Kendall LeBron. I think a lot of other people had that same issue. Greg Wyszynski falling back.
Schaffner trying to regain lost time in a hurry. Looks for the inside on DeCiani. LeBron, Grossi also going to be going with it. Grossi pushes up. And DeCiani going to be looking set to kind of keep steady in it. Kendall LeBron going to be trying his best to try to find a way to cover off Schaffner, but it's not going to happen. Schaffner to the inside of LeBron out of 2.
I'm telling you what, Schaffner done turned it up. I mean, considering, he made that mistake. He hit that, that pit wall, made a huge mistake on pit road, fell back to 4th. I think that he's not the guy that's going to dwell on an issue like that. It looks like he is going to be trying to fight to get this win. As Wayne Grossi kind of out there in no man's lane. One thing about it, he does have the clean air, but the draft is going to really help Schaffner with these clean, new tires.
Everybody's on an even playing field. Pit strategy is very much out the window. DeCiani for the inside of LeBron. LeBron looking.
Oh, contact!
No! LeBron goes around.
Oh, that's going to be
Caution flies. Oh, and Padgett gets drilled.
Man.
Oh, boy. Nothing Wyszynski could have done. Nothing Padgett could have done. Drumhiller just shot through the middle of all that.
Oh, and then Greg Wyszynski just right into Kendall LeBron, too. That was just unfortunate. Just, I'd say, a racing deal.
Gosh. Caution is out again. Big hit, though, for guys like LeBron, Wyszynski, and Mark Padgett especially. Tell you what, I feel bad for Padgett. He was having such a good night earlier, and it's just falling apart. So Wyszynski actually shoved DeCiani back in to LeBron after initially being turned sideways. You have to wonder, would LeBron have saved that if Wyszynski didn't shove DeCiani back into it to finish the job?
I mean, I think that's definitely within the realm of possibilities. I think that I don't think Wyszynski, one thing about these cars, I mean, they're going around this racetrack so fast that, things happen at a moment's notice, like literally microseconds, that you have to react to things like that. And I just don't think Wyszynski was right there to be able to, do that. I mean, you take your, focus away from what's going on around you for even just a split second. That's all it takes.
This caution will put Pattengale back on the lead lap. And
Pattengale set to get a good finish here tonight.
Which is a bit interesting because Pattengale was actually one of the slowest drivers on the night. Remember, was almost lapped in stage 1, did get lapped in stage 2. And now look at him. On the lead lap and in the top 10. It's consistency, right? He's he might not be very quick. He might not have been the fastest driver on track tonight. But because he was consistently off the pace, he kept it out of everybody's mess. Almost every single driver that he has passed at the moment, it has been collected in major incidents.
Yeah, I mean, everybody 10th on back right now is at least 7 laps down. So literally everybody 9th on up, they're the only ones on the lead lap. And a lot of those guys that are still on the lead lap have heavy damage. This could be an excellent day here for Robert Pattengale. I mean, I know I mentioned it earlier also, like you said, trying to keep your car clean. I mean, being consistent. You might not be the fastest guy, but if you're able to stay, run a quiet race tonight, I think, Atlanta's going to pay you dividends.
Kind of taking a look at some of the races coming on in the next few weeks. It's going to be a bit of a slow race, and I'm going to be honest with you, Brian, not expecting a whole lot to write home about a Circuit of the Americas in 1 week. That's a racetrack where even in F1, which is what it was made for, find it a bit hard for that to be an entertaining race in of itself, let alone stock car racing, right? I never saw that as a stock car racing track. I personally think there's a lot better racetracks to go at. But nonetheless, it's on the NIS schedule, and so it will be on the ISCA's as well. So Circuit of the Americas, 34 laps. Then we slow it down in a whole other way, but it's a fun way. Richmond, Martinsville, Bristol Dirt.
Oh,
back
yeah.
to back to back. And you know what's the best way to top all of those weeks of madness off? Talladega.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Bristol Dirt in these cars, I cannot wait to see what that looks like. We saw what that looked like in the Gen 6 and was pleasantly impressed. I think that's going to be great. I mean, I understand your, maybe your opinion on COTA, but I mean, I think there's going to be some guys that are going to show up there. We're putting in a lot of time. Those road course ringers, they're definitely going to keep that race interesting.
And on top of that, then it kind of gets a bit more average as you'd expect throughout the season, right? You got Dover, Darlington, Kansas, Texas, which double as the Super Cup Series All-Star race. Charlotte for the 300-mile event. Oh, boy. Mark your evenings off of that one. And then the Worldwide Technology Raceway will end out season number 2, just in time for Sonoma for an off-season race, where we jump back into season number 3. So we're going to be having a lot of very exciting racing ahead of us in season number 2. I'm not going to lie, just like last year, season 2, the one I look forward to the most on the year.
Oh, yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, a lot of the tracks you named, I mean, Dover, Darlington. I mean, you're talking about, it gets boring. Those are not boring tracks at all. Those take a lot of skill, and could see a lot of fireworks shooting off there. One thing I got to talk about, Al Keselowski right now. We talked about how he struggled on the night so hard. He's up to 4th right now. Randy Drumhiller in 3rd. I mean, there's a lot of chances for some guys to get some great finishes here just by even existing right now.
18 laps to go. Schaffner tried to jump the gun. It didn't work. Grossi back to green flag racing as the field fans out. 3 wide down the front straightaway.
Yeah, not a lot of laps really remaining here. I don't think anybody's going to be trying to save any tires. Everybody's going to be going for the gusto, trying to get everything they can here. Josh Schaffner trying to look for any way around Wayne Grossi. Looks like he's going to try to get him on the top side. Not able to get there, though, but Wayne Grossi's giving him enough room to do so.
Oh, he's got the run out of 4. Schaffner's there, and he's going to be side by side as the hit start finish. Pulling ahead by just a couple of thousandths at start finish. And Schaffner now clear for the race lead. High side and 1 and 2.
And a big gap back to 3rd place. Randy Drumhiller in 3rd place. Love to see him on the podium right now. I mean, he's one of those guys that, more of a quiet racer. He doesn't really ever get any of these podium kind of finishes. He definitely has a chance to get one here tonight. Josh Schaffner surges ahead on the top side. Now that he's got that pass done, we saw how Wayne Grossi struggled to try to pass Schaffner earlier in this race. This could be the death nail in the chances to win for Wayne Grossi.
DeCian and LeBron, you saw them duking it out amongst themselves. Powell looks for the inside on Keselowski. But of course, Powell 7 laps down. He's trying to work his way through lead lap traffic at the moment. Is the number 24 gas and go machine. As LeBron, DeCiani continue to battle them out amongst themselves for the 4th position. And LeBron scaring DeCiani up the hill, looks for the inside out of 2.
I'm telling you, a lot of these cars are just being, they're still driving just because of pure willpower. I mean, you would think that a lot of these cars would have given up seeing the accidents we've seen. And you mentioned earlier about these cars not doing very good with damage. I mean, I think the suspension definitely doesn't handle damage well. But I got to say, I have been so impressed with how these chassis hold up.
And now, DeCiani up even further up the hill, and LeBron goes to the bottom in turn. That's going to put them dead even on the back straightaway. Keselowski worked past on Avery out of turn 2. As LeBron looks set to continue to try to wheel his way up to that number 1 Chameleon Cold Brew Chevrolet.
And the 44, Randy Drumhiller, finding himself probably a little nervous. I wouldn't be surprised to see him looking at his mirror or his relative, because these guys are charging to try to get past him. And I think it's only a matter of time here. I mean, I'm telling you what, if Kenny Powell was on the lead lap still, I do believe he'd be doing some work right now. Surprised that car doesn't show as much damage as it should, just considering we've seen him involved in quite a number of accidents here tonight. Matt DiGianni staying up here in the top 5, doing an excellent job.
Oh, and Don Avery just chopped Kozlowski's nose, the point where if Kozlowski didn't lift, he absolutely would have turned Avery into the outside wall.
And that's one thing you don't want to do. This is the first race of the ButtKicker Cup Series. You do not want to make enemies for the rest of the season, and that's the kind of move that will make an enemy. Knowing how Kozlowski, knowing how he is, I mean, he's not one to let things go.
DeCiani gets past Drumhiller for the podium as well. You see LeBron looking to battle it out with him as well. Drumhiller starting to slip back. LeBron gets through for 4th. Can he make it stick, though, on the number 1 Chevrolet up on the top side? It's not going to be an easy run, but there is still 10 laps to go at the line.
Yeah, I think Randy Drumhiller made a smart call. He saw those guys really encroaching on him and just decided, it's not worth it. Those guys might end up wrecking each other. I could get paid dividends by, just being safe out here. And I think that's what that 44 has in mind right now. I don't think he wants to get tangled up with any of these guys. As Kenny Powell still trying to make something happen. If I was Drumhiller, like I said, I wouldn't want to get tangled up with these guys, but I would pick my favorite. Maybe push Kendall LeBron to try to help him get around Matt DeCiani to maybe follow him right on through. But Josh Schaffner right now out to a 1.2, almost 1.3 second gap. When we saw this earlier from him, we saw him fall back. But now this run is short enough, I don't think we're going to see him fall back. I think that he's going to be perfectly, good right there in that little bit of a gap he has to maybe finish this race. Less than 10 laps to go. I do believe 8 this time by.
DeCiani, LeBron, Drumhiller, all within 0.3 of a second of each other, with Kenny Powell just tagging along for the ride. 7 laps down. What a journey it has been for a number of these drivers. DeCiani starting to pull clear. Kendall LeBron, Randy Drumhiller closing the gap in, though, to about 1/10 of a second. He wants to get back by the 00 Ford Mustang.
Yeah, Randy Drumhiller definitely doing a great job. Got a tremendous amount of momentum in that race car. And hopefully maybe Kenny Powell will stick with him, maybe help him push, himself. I think a much cleaner car Randy Drumhiller has compared to the likes of Kendall LeBron. You see a lot of damage on that race car. Not really in the front end, but on the right side and left side, and some of them on his rear end.
Once again, Drumhiller looks low. LeBron covers him off. Drumhiller is staying within the 10, though I have a feeling he is faster than LeBron. He's just got to find some speed to work his way through. Checked up, though, big time out of turn number 2. I think got tight, had to avoid going into the wall, so he was forced to lift. But it's already reeled in 0.5 already, making almost a full 10th just through turns 3 and 4 alone.
I really think that what's going on with Drumhiller right now, I think it's a confidence thing. We don't see him, rarely see him up here in the top 5. And, when you get up here, you could, have every bit of the skill and the race car to do it. But, it's all about confidence, too. Kendall LeBron. Oh, there's a big problem. That's going to be a caution.
Caution's out again.
Man.
LeBron outside wall, bounced right back down to the Drumhiller. How many times have we seen incidents like that?
You hate to see it. I mean, I know Kendall LeBron fairly well. I mean, knowing him, I would think he would try to keep it up there. But no, he just keeps trying to come back down. I mean, that's just something as a racer you should know. If you hit that wall, you got to stay up there. You got to stay up there. And Randy Drumhiller really paid the price for that, considering he's missing his front end now.
See LeBron gets into the outside wall. I think he tried, but it was just too little, too late. Sent both those drivers into the outside wall.
This is not what Schaffner wants. I guarantee you that.
Nope. Once again, he's going to be under fire for what could end up being a green-white checker finish here, actually.
I think it might be. I think it could very well be, considering we are going to end up having someone probably receiving the lucky dog, which is going to extend it by 1 lap. I think this could be a green-white checkered.
Under caution once again. Currently 4 laps to go. And it will be overtime attempt number 1 from Atlanta. We'll be back in a few.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at TheButtKicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Coming around turn number 4, we're expecting pace car lights out this time by for what will be green-white checkered attempt number 1. After we saw Kendall LeBron rebound off the outside wall straight into an unsuspecting Randy Drumhiller. Good news for Drumhiller here, Brian. He is still running 6th, but unfortunately with no front end, looks like that might be the best he'll be able to do on the night.
Yeah, could see some heating issues with that race car. Luckily, we are nearing the end of this thing. I mean, he would definitely be good to be able to finish in, 6th place here. But I don't know. I mean, looking at, we see that 17. He's another one that really doesn't run towards the front very often. That 17, Robert Battengale, he's got a relatively clean car here tonight. Could he maybe get a top 5 finish?
I believe it would be his first top 5 in the ButtKicker Cup Series competition. So we'll see if Robert Battengale can get himself a first top 5 to kick off his season on a high. Josh Schaffner is going to bring the field through turns 3 and 4. Overtime attempt numero uno. And the only green-white checkered attempt as well. It's this or none at all, Brian. Field is ready to go. Schaffner down and in. He's going to take us to the green flag.
Josh Schaffner with a great restart there. That's exactly what he needed. Wayne Grossi left a little bit sleeping there. As Al Kozlowski, Don Avery, Randy Drumhiller are all trying to battle out a little bit here. Al Kozlowski surprised to see him even up in the top 4 considering the damage he's gotten. But Matt DeCiani right now in 3rd. A little bit of a handling condition from Don Avery. He gets real loose.
And coming around 3 and 4, Josh Schaffner, Wayne Grossi, 4/10 separate your top 2 as they take the white flag this time by. Race is official on lap 164. And Josh Schaffner clear by 4 with no pressure from behind. Schaffner goes to the bottom. Grassi tries to get the momentum up top to wind up a punch, but it is going to be too little, too late, unless Schaffner makes an almighty error in 3 and 4. Once again, Schaffner to the bottom. Grassi closing and closing down to 3/10, under that now to a quarter of a second just about, but it will be Schaffner out of the final corner to take a victory in the Monster 250 and win the first race of the second 2022 season for the ISCA ButtKicker Cup Series.
Yeah, definitely a great finish there for Schaffner. Going to get him right on the right foot here for the Season 2. Excellent work for him. I mean, winning a stage and winning the race itself. He's definitely probably going to be up in the points lead after that one. What a race that was. And Randy Drumhiller still coming home in 5th. Got to love that. Al Kozlowski, even with that damage, coming home in 4th. So a lot of guys probably not expecting to get this top 5, coming home in the top 5.
Schaffner first place, winning the race by just over a quarter of a second for Wayne Grassi. Matt DiCiani finishes out the podium. We'll talk to those drivers in a minute. Al Kozlowski is 4th, with him Randy Drumhiller in 5th. Don Avery is 6th. Robert Pangale is 7th, with Greg Wychinski in 8th as the last driver on the lead lap. LeBron and Powell, both 7 laps down in 9th and 10th.
Mark Pageant, of course, who grabbed the pole here tonight in 11th place. 12th place is going to be James Oxford. 13th, Corey Cook. 14th, Matthew McMeekin. 15th, Greg Bartlett. 16th, John Mullins. And did not start the race tonight, R.J. Root in 17th.
Look at Josh Schaffner doing clinical burnouts down there. I mean, we're talking perfect
symmetrical
circles.
Very
I've never seen that be done by anybody. Look, that is more unbelievable than
he
this
stayed in the exact same spot.
You can see the threads. I mean, look at that. How often do you see that on this service? He's getting set to just burn the tires off of that thing altogether.
I wonder if he could draw my name out there. He blew the engine. Oh, wow. He definitely got his money worked out of that engine.
Well, while we wait for Sheldon McGrath to join us up in the broadcast booth, we'll start from the bottom of the podium and work our way out. Matt DiCiani joins us in the broadcast booth. And, Matt, a third-place finish for you. And didn't quite manage to work up higher than that, but all things considered, despite the struggles you had over the course of the night, not a bad result at all.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you. Do you have us?
Yeah, I think that was the important question.
I think some apparent problems for Matt DiCiani, some difficulties on our end. So instead, we'll move down to our second place finisher, and I'll let you have this one, Brian.
All righty, we got Mr. Wayne Grassi in the booth. What a performance you put on here tonight. I mean, be honest with you, I was rooting for you. I thought you was going to win this race, man. You know, what was different about Atlanta tonight that just gave you, that kind of speed?
Just a slow progression of getting used to this car, I think. Finally learning a few things about it, and really had it dialed in tonight.
You definitely seemed like you had it dialed in. It just, tell us about some of the difficulties, the challenges that you faced there trying to pass. I mean, I know Schaffner, you and him, try to trade position back and forth there for a long time, just not able to really get, that pass done. Was passing just a huge difficulty? What do you think was causing that?
Well, it's really tough to pass here because the fast line is on top in many cases, and when you go low, it's hard to get the drive off, and it's just a real challenge to pass anyone here.
Yeah, definitely could see that for sure, but you still managed to bring home a second place finish, and going to be really good starting out for season 2 of the 2022 season 2 ButtKicker Cup Series. I mean, are you feeling confident going forward here?
Yeah, I am. I'm not much on a road course, but after that, it looks good.
I'd say COTA definitely going to be quite the challenge to undertake coming up in just a week's time. I mean, have you turned any laps there at COTA? You feel like you're just going to be kind of out of your element there?
Well, I just am not a road course guy, so yeah, I'm a little bit out of my element.
Well, we hope to see you maybe turn some laps, get some practice time in, some seat time. Maybe you'll show up. You never know. I mean, considering, with those road courses, mistakes could be abound. If you're just able to keep it in between the lines, could find yourself with a great finish. We definitely appreciate you coming up here and talking to us, and excellent work there with that second place finish. Who can we shout out to you tonight after that runner-up position?
Well, congrats, first of all, to Josh. That was a hell of a race. Really enjoyed it. Thanks to the league for putting this on. Really appreciate the league and all they do, all the admins and so on. I appreciate you guys in the booth. I really enjoy the broadcasts. I watch them every week, and you're great. You're very good at what you do. And, Shell Pennzoil and everybody in the garage.
Well, we definitely appreciate your time, Wayne Grossi. Again, congratulations on your second place finish. Look forward to seeing you at COTA.
Right. Thanks.
All right, back to you, Nolan.
Going to move things up to our race winner over the course of the night. And Josh, it was a bit of a tense third stage for you. Every time you extend that lead up, a caution comes out and you get reeled right back in. How were your emotions throughout all of that?
Yeah, it was an up and down race through the stages, and with the damage there after stage 2, and we talked on the stage break there. I knew I had to be aggressive to get that track position back, and that really played out into my hands. And the third stage, we talk about just completing having a clean race, and I was able to. Didn't do nothing fancy, but I kept a clean race. Wayne was really fast in the middle of the run. He was better than I was towards that green flag pit stop, and I cycled out really good, had a good stop, and I know there was a little bit of trouble behind us, and at that point I probably had the race in the bag. And then we had some restarts, and I overshot my pit stop on that last pit stop, so I had to work our way back up there. And then I had a pretty good restart there with Wayne. That last restart, I was just able to get enough to run and kind of get to the outside 1 and 2, and then that kind of put me out in clean air. And I thought if I could get that out there with that many laps to go, I could probably hold it. He was coming there late, but that last caution kind of played in my favor there as well. So a lot of fortunate circumstances for me today.
So how are you thinking things are going to look for the championship for you as a whole? You won a stage on the race tonight, third of the other one. Looks like it could be a good start for you for your championship bid.
Yeah, really off to a great start here, especially for the Super Cup Series. The playoff format, and the having wins and stage points and playoff points are going to be important. And also hanging in there pretty good here for the season 2 points too. And nice to have a clean race here. I've had a couple unforced errors at Vegas and at Phoenix last week, so it's nice to kind of just have a clean race, and it all paid off and got us back to victory lane.
So next week we'll be swinging on south to Austin, Texas. What's your take on the Circuit of the Americas?
Yeah, I've never turned a lap there, so I'll have to do a little bit of work to do. I didn't make that race last year. I actually traveled down from Minnesota to Texas to go to the COTA race. So that's why I didn't compete in ISCA there last year, and didn't get any races there. So I'll have to do a little work. But it'll be the same goal for me as every road course. Just keep it on the road, and if you can do that here and just run consistent lap times, you have a shot at a podium. I won't be a contender to win, but if I can run a clean race, I will have a shot to maybe sneak out a third place or steal one along the way there.
And thank you, Josh, for taking the time once again to share your insights with us up in the broadcast booth. Once again, before I let you go, who'd you like to shout out for that number 50 Chevrolet?
Yeah, Pioneer Seeds, Plenish Soybeans, Smith Farms, JMS, Mayor Seed Solutions, SGI, all those guys. And like I said during the break, as we get ready to plant another, planting season here in the Corn Belt and across the country, just, be safe on the roads, look out for, the farm equipment, and be patient with those guys. And if you run into one, like I said earlier, just make sure you thank a farmer for all the hard work they do for us to, be able to put food on the table every week while we're at home with our families.
And thank you, Josh, for taking the time to join us up here tonight. Congrats on that solid race win. Best of luck next week when we go turning right.
Appreciate it, Nolan.
And checking one more time with our third place finisher, Matt DeCiani. Had some technical difficulties the last time. Matt, you got us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent. So a third place for you at the end of the night. It was a bit intense for you, though, all throughout the stages. How was it for you, though, from your perspective on the track?
Yeah, I think I got behind. That caution came out beginning of stage 3, and I didn't pit, and that just threw me in a bad position. I got freight train there, then tagged the wall. And yeah, just struggling from that point on. But luckily got a caution that stayed the third stage there. I got back on the same sequence, and it worked out. I got into Kendall there. I wanted to review it before I said anything, but yeah, it was just a weird situation there, but I apologize for that.
So how are things looking for you in your championship bid? Obviously, you weren't. I don't think you raced with us full time in the first season of the year, but you're off to a strong start so far in the second one.
Yeah, we'll had a decent car today. We'll see. It's just these cars are just so crazy and unpredictable sometimes. So one week he can nail it, one week he could be completely off. So we'll see how it goes, but strong start so far.
I'm going to ask you the same question that I already threw out to Shavner, and we also asked Wayne. Fair enough. It's only fair that we get your opinion on it, too. What's your thoughts on the road course racing as we get set to go down to Austin?
No, I'm actually excited for COTA. I love road racing. Road racing in these cars are different, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. So hopefully I can be a contender next week.
Well, fingers crossed, Matt. It's been a pleasure having you up here in the broadcast booth. Before I let you go, who would you like to shout out for that Chameleon Cold Brew Coffee #1?
Yeah, I mean, thanks to you guys up in the booth. And then, yeah, just thanks to Kenny for running the league and finally getting me to join here.
Thank you, Matt, for taking the time to join us here tonight. Congrats on the third place finish. Best of luck next week in Texas.
Thanks, guys.
And with that, that'll be a wrap for us then here from Atlanta Motor Speedway and the Monster 250. Join us next week when we go racing for 34 laps around the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. We'll see you there.